Welcome to part 4 of my Cosmere Connections and Easter Eggs video series. Today we're going to be covering Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. Oathbringer. In Interlude 4, the cook on the ship is one of the Sleepless. In Chapter 70, we meet the character Azir, who is also Vivenna from Warbreaker. There are many hints throughout the book that it's Vivenna. Azir, Kaladin, and Aelin do the same kata that they all learned from Zael, who is also Vasher. Azir uses strips of cloth on the ship in Shadesmar. She says she came to Roshar through Shadesmar a year ago and calls Roshar your world while speaking to Shallan and the others. She has an awakened blade and was using breaths during the Battle of Kholinar. She is hunting for someone. It could be Vasher/Zael or Nightblood. The old man in the lighthouse from chapter 97 is from Sel, and is possibly the man that Raoden put into the pool in Elantris. The picture in the lighthouse is of the city of Elantris. The canned food from this chapter is probably from Scadrial during Mistborn Era 2. In chapter 102, Kaladin sees a painting in the marketplace from the Court of the Gods, which is from the book Warbreaker. In chapter 114, Felt appears as one of Dalinar's men. In the epilogue, Wit/Hoyd uses breaths from Warbreaker to awaken a doll for a child. Later in the epilogue, he bonds a cryptic spren. The Part 1 epigraphs are excerpts from the preface to the in-world Oathbringer, the book Dalinar writes after the Battle of Thaylen Field. The Part 2 epigraphs are letters from the shards Endowment, Autonomy, and Harmony to Hoyd, likely in response to a letter similar to the one he sent to Frost. The Part 3 epigraphs are messages recorded by the Knights Radiant just prior to the abandonment of Irithiru and the Recreants, found in the Irithiru Gem Archive. The Part 4 epigraphs are excerpts from the in-world book by Hesi, Mythica, which attempts to catalog the unmade. The Part 5 epigraphs are excerpts from the Aela Stele, a document written by a singer around the time of the First Desolation, and from the postscript to the in-world Way of Kings, the book written by Noadon about his journeys. Rhythm of War. The Part 1 epigraphs are a transcript from a letter on fabrial mechanics presented to the Coalition of Monarchs by Navani Kholin. The fabrial's metals have similar effects to allomancy from Mistborn. The Part 2 epigraphs form a letter from the Shard Harmony to Hoyd, continuing their earlier correspondence. The Shards Endowment, Ambition, Devotion, Dominion, Invention, Mercy, Valor, and Whimsy are mentioned in Harmony's letter. So is the planet Threnody. The Part 3 epigraphs are excerpts from the in-world Rhythm of War, describing the research of Navani Kholin and Rabonion on the nature of light. The Part 4 epigraphs are excerpts from Kalak's journal reflecting on his nature as a herald. The Part 5 epigraphs are excerpts from the musings of El, a fused scholar of human art forms, on the first of the final 10 days. In Chapter 9, the planets Taldane, Nalthis, and Scadrial are mentioned in Iale's notes. In Chapter 15, Zael uses awakening on some laundry. Also in Chapter 15, Fel and his wife are part of the group going to Shadesmar. In Chapter 21, Adolin gives Kaladin a coin and tells him that it's from Zael's homeland, which is Nalthis. The singers use the same name for aluminum, Rachalast, as is used in the Emperor's Soul. In Chapter 52, Axendweth, the woman who gives Venli the gemstone, is probably a ferrochemist from Mistborn. The sand that Navani uses in her research, and that Moash uses to find Spren, is from Taldane. In Chapter 75, a caravan of traders from Nalthis is mentioned. Also in Chapter 75, Shallan's target 16 is someone important. The number 16 is always important in the Cosmere. In Chapter 87, the thing the Owner Spren used to store their stormlight was obtained from the Airi, of Elantris. In chapter 115, the Spren and Shallan's box is a Scion from Elantris. Also in chapter 15, we learn the identity of Thadakar, and there is a reference to the fight between Hoid and Thadakar. I won't say who Thadakar is here because it would be a spoiler for other Cosmere books. If you are up to date on Mistborn, you will get it. In the epilogue, Hoid uses breaths to store his memories. The Cosmere, the Shards, and Adalnasium are mentioned many times by many characters. Coravelium Avast, or cultivation, is confirmed to be a dragon. Odium speaks about a future battle between worlds. Mraze's bird could be an aviar from First of the Sun. Gera, the house steward in the Kolinar Palace, is a Ferricomist from Mistborn, and has a red aviar from First of the Sun.